This episode of the Ask Joe Powder Powdcast is brought to you by Gema. Are you looking for a solution to coat your most difficult products with no touch-up? Then Gema's dynamic contouring equipment is the right solution for you. Unlike robotic coating, dynamic contouring offers greater flexibility without all the programming hassle while correctly positioning each powder gun to automatically coat your parts. For more information, call 877-437-6771. Once again, that's 877-437-6771. And be sure to mention, Ask Joe sent me. When you want to know that everything is covered, complete it with Gema.
Okay. You're recording?
Ready? Hey, all you powder coating fans. Welcome to episode number 17 of the Ask Joe Powder Powdcast. Thanks for taking time to join us. We really appreciate your support. I'm your host, Joe Powder, a.k.a. Kevin Miller. And with me is my esteemed colleague, sidekick, and our own Luther Vandross vocal doppelganger, Nathan. He's Powder Coating Research Group's formulator dude.
I have no idea what that means.
We also have with us a guest announcer, our intern, Gus White.
Hey, everyone.
We're broadcasting from Powder Coating Research Group studios in Columbus, Ohio. So, you know, the purpose of the Ask Joe Powder podcast is to bring news and technical know-how to the global powder coating community. Let's get it rolling.
Before we do, I'd like to give a shout-out to Sue Ivancic with Nordson Corporation. Sue recently announced her retirement from Nordson after 42 years with the company. Sue's had an illustrious career, always done a great job for the industry. She's been involved with a number of really great things throughout her time. Most recently, she was on the Powder Coating Institute Board of Directors. And for years before that, she had served on PCI's Education Committee as a chairperson. She's also been involved with training and teaching throughout her career, besides being an ACE customer value support person. Hope I got that right. Anyway, she was integral in opening and managing the Nordson University, which is committed to being a powder coating education center, which is, you know, backed by their company Nordson and their resources and facilities. So great stuff, Sue. Sue, you've done a great job for the industry, and heartfelt good luck with your future. I hope you enjoy your retirement and get some time to relax and enjoy life.
Okay, now some news in our Guess What segment.
Guess what?
All right, our first piece of news comes from Business Wire. PPG is introducing their new PPG EnviroCron Heat Sense powder coating for heat-sensitive wood and composite applications. It's a technology for wood composites like MDF, hardwood, plywood, and similar products. They say the coating can cure in as few as 5 minutes at 250 degrees F, which is 121 C, I believe. And it can be either a 1 or 2 coat process, and it can be cured in convection or infrared. Of course, they say it's fully reclaimable, cost-effective, efficient, no VOCs, but that's, you know, describing powder coatings in general. Do you know, did that come from their recent acquisition, or?
Yeah, you know, Nate, that's a good point. You know, this really coincides quite well with PPG's fairly recent acquisition of Alpha Coatings. And people that know Alpha Coatings, that was the brainchild of good friend Jenna Muthaya, who started the company probably about 15, closer to 20 years ago in the Chicago area. But one of the focuses of Geno's company, Alpha Coatings, was making custom technology, custom materials for the heat-sensitive substrate market. And it looks to me like PPG's integrated his technology and maybe augmented a little bit. But hey, hats off to Geno and the folks at PPG.
Yeah, and we've covered a lot of different, technologies that have come out for heat-sensitive substrates, and this is just another one that's out there. It's commercial, it's available, and it exists. It's cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and here, an announcement from the Powder Coating Institute. They've decided to move their Powder Coating Week 2021 from February to April 27th through 30th. That's at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida. The Powder Coating Week that the Institute does is they took a few of their different annual events and they put it all together into 1 week. So it's the Custom Coaters Forum, it's the Powder Coating 101 workshop, and the Powder Coating Technical Conference and Tabletop Exhibition. So they put them all in one place so people can go to one or all of them. It's kind of cool. We'll see how the April date works out for them. It seems like it might still be a little early, but we'll keep paying attention to their announcements and let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a little optimistic, but we, fingers crossed. We're hoping everything works out for everybody. Best of luck to the Powder Coating Institute. It's going to be a great program, and let's hope by the time April rolls around, we're living in a better world.
Well, speaking of the Powder Coating Institute, they announced their 2021 Board of Directors and Executive Officers. Their current lineup is going to be John Cole of Parker Ionics as president, Chris Merritt from Gema USA as vice president, and Shelley Verdun from PPG as secretary/treasurer. And the rest of the board of directors for 2021 are Greg Dawson, Rick Gaiman, Marty Korecki, John Sudges, Tom Whalen, Paul West, and Mike Withers.
It's now time for our Q&A portion of the Powdcast.
Do you have a question?
Ask Joe Powder.
Well, you can ask him.
Ask Joe Powder.
He has the answer that'll advance your
Powder Coating.
It's the Ask Joe Powder Powdcast.
All right, our first question comes from Ahmet Ozkan from Turkey. He says, "Hey, Joe, I'm looking for a degassing agent for low temperature cure powder coating! !"
Okay. Ahmet, hey, thanks for your question. And we realize you're kind of excited, but, there's really no need for a triplicate and exclamation points. But, we absolutely enjoy your enthusiasm. But let's get on to your question. You're asking for a degassing agent, and I'm going to talk a little bit about degassing and also outgassing or offgassing and make that important distinction. But you're asking for a degassing agent, which would be in your formulation. So let's break it down. Degassing agents can be used for a variety of phenomena. Some gassing is related to the expulsion of air, which is present between powder particles, and as they fuse and form a film, this interstitial air is released, and if it's not mitigated by a degassing agent, then you get what we call in the industry pinholes, which are unsightly and could be considered a defect. In addition to this air release during the film formation of a powder coating, some cure chemistries emit volatiles, believe it or not. Polyurethanes for sure. Also the hydroxyalkyd amide cured polyesters, also known as primid type cure or non-TGIC. And in addition, there's a small amount of moisture that is normally present in powders that actually is emitted during the melt and flow phase. So degassing agents are essential, I would say, in all powder coating formulations. The other scenario that needs to be considered is the expulsion of vapors or gas from substrates. And in this case, we're talking about cast metal parts, certainly galvanizing, and some other types of metallized steel. And this is commonly referred to as offgassing, or some people call it outgassing. So a different set of degassing agents work for these phenomena. So for the first thing I talked about, degassing from just kind of incidental emissions from a powder during its formation, benzoin is the go-to compound. It works very well for this type of function, and it does a great job. It's relatively low cost and works at a low concentration. Now, your question was for a low bake powder coating, and by that I think we're talking about this less than maybe 130 C type baked powder coatings. Benzoin will not work, and the reason for that is the melt point of benzoin is 132 degrees C, so it just doesn't work unless it's actually melted to do its job. So hence, you need to consider more specialized proprietary products from some of your powder coating additive suppliers, and I would recommend Estron, which has a presence in North America, but in the rest of the world, I believe their partner Worley Chemicals have some products. They're known as OxyMelts. That's their product line. In addition, Troycorp has a pretty neat degassing agent that works for low temperature cure materials. It's called PowderMate. I believe it's 542 DG. Yeah, DG. Wonder what that stands for. And you also may want to consult with the people from BIC, which in Germany it's actually pronounced
Book.
Okay. All right. Now, as for the off-gassing, or called it outgassing from porous substrates, the secret sauce is actually based on a wax. And what happens here is these waxes, they melt during the melt phase of the powder coating, and they stay soft, and we'd say open during the melt and cure cycle. And because of this, it allows the volatiles from the substrate to actually evolve through the coating and more or less repair itself before the coating's completely cured. So pretty neat stuff. And again, these additive companies, they have recommendations and they all work very well. So I hope this explains some of the magic of formulating powder coating technology. So with kind regards, Joe Powder.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Gama's Optiflex Pro manual gun uses Power Boost technology, which gives you the industry's highest charging power at 110,000 volts and 110 microamps, allowing for faster and more efficient powder coating. We're handing you more power, more quality, and more control. For a demonstration, call 877-437-6771. Once again, that's 877-437-6771. And be sure to mention, Ask Joe sent me. When you want to know that everything is covered, complete it with Gama.
The Powder Coating Research Group is a proud sponsor of the Ask Joe Powder Podcast. PCR is the only independent laboratory dedicated to powder coating technology. We do everything from raw material evaluation, formulating the next generation of coatings, new product development, testing, troubleshooting, training, and consulting. To find out more, visit our website at powdercoatingresearch.com, or you can email Kevin Biller at kevinbiller@yahoo.com. Thanks for listening to the the Ask Joe Powder Podcast. Our next question is from Joel Menchaca from Houston, Texas. He says, "Afternoon, Joe. I had a question about powder coating. What's the best powder coating primer to use as a base coat on fencing outdoor iron rails? We then apply a gloss black as a top coat. We use zinc-rich primer as our base, but the top coat and base is starting to peel off. Thanks."
Morning, Joel. Wow. Sounds like a serious problem. Using a zinc primer over steel rails should be okay as your base coat. Also, known as your primer. But it's very important for it to be processed properly. So, number one, please ensure that these iron rails are properly prepared before applying the primer. That's a lot of P's. By proper preparation, I'm referring to first removing all the oils and soils, then preparing the metal for the best adhesion of the primer. The oils and soils can be either removed by a solvent wipe, and acetone works well, or an alkaline cleaner followed by a clean water rinse. Pre-treating the metal is next, and it could be accomplished either by media blasting, and remember, use only clean media, or you can use a chemical pretreatment such as an iron phosphate, or perhaps a newer zirconium-based solution. Clean this with a deionized water rinse, and you should have a very good surface for the primer to adhere to the metal. After applying the primer, it's wise to partially cure, or I say gel the powder. Best top coat adhesion is achieved over an incompletely cured primer. So reduce the recommended primer bake by about 50% and then proceed to your top coating process. Then bake the top coated rails per the recommended powder bake. Make sure that you're getting the metal up to temperature before you start the clock on your cure time, which should be easily found in the product data sheet provided by your powder coating supplier. If you're still having adhesion issues after taking these types of measures, what I'd recommend is switching to a non-zinc primer. I've never been a real big fan of zinc primers. They work well, but they're kind of finicky when it comes to performance, and they're high density and hard to reclaim and whatever. But anyway, there are a number of non-zinc, some product names called zero zinc, but non-zinc primers that work just as well. They spray better. You get better coverage per pound or per kilo of powder because the specific gravity is lower. We've developed some of these in our laboratory, and we see excellent corrosion resistance, even compared to zinc-rich primers. So I'd give them a shot and see if they solve your problem. But probably the most important thing to think about before you make any changes is make sure that the metal is very well cleaned and pre-treated within specification, and get the right cure on your system before you start making changes. So best of luck, Joe.
Before we wrap up, let's fill you in on upcoming events.
Hey friends, where are we going?
To an upcoming event.
And as we mentioned before, the Powder Coating Week is moved to April of 2021. So if you want to check that out, it's in Orlando. China Coat 2020 is going virtual. They're simultaneously holding an in-person event in Guangzhou December 8th through 10th. But they're also having a virtual component that you can tune into remotely if you feel better about that. The European Coating Show is postponed to September 2021. They had originally talked about having it in March, but just overall safety concerns and discussion amongst the stakeholders there, they decided to schedule it for the 14th through 16th of September 2021. A few more here. The DSCT Focus, that's in Plymouth, Michigan. That's May 6th, 2021. Paint and Coatings is Barcelona, Spain, the 1st and 2nd of June, 2021. The Eastern Coating Show in Atlantic City, New Jersey, is the 9th through 11th of June, 2021.
Okay. Before we sign off, just want to mention that you can also catch the Ask Joe Powder question and answer column in print and also on the websites of Powder Coated Tough Magazine, which is the publication by the Powder Coating Institute. It's a regular column in every issue of PPCJ, which is the Polymers, Paint, and Color Journal. They also have it, of course, on their website. And under the Finishing Flash tab with Paint and Coatings Industry, PCI Magazine, on their website.
You can find us online at askjoepowder.com. If you want to know about new episodes when they come out, you can subscribe on any of your podcast apps. That's the Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google. We're just added to Amazon. So if you use Audible or, your Amazon home spying on you device, you can get it there. We have a YouTube channel and Twitter, which is at AKA Joe Powder. And if you want to ask a question, the email address is askjoepowder@yahoo.com, or you can call and leave a message at country code 1-478-2-ASK-JOE. That's 1-478-227-5563. This has been a production of the Powder Coating Research Group. Original music, editing, and putting echo on the word benzoin by Nick Page. Mbop a doopadop a doo-wop. Yibby-dop-ow. Mbop a doopadop yeah.
And remember, keep your powder dry, my friends.
Thank you for listening to the Ask Joe Powder Powdcast. This episode was brought to you by Gema. Synchronized monitoring and control of your entire automated process is the core of Gema's Magic Control 4.0 data management systems, with options like line management, offering deeper insight into productivity and consumption, or energy management, allowing you to monitor and save both energy and air consumption, or batch management, offering tracking of powder used to coat production batches. Gema provides the very best in technology and connectivity for smarter factory automation. To learn more about Gema's Magic Control 4.0 data management systems, visit CompleteItWithGema.com. When you want to know that everything is covered, complete it with Gema.
That's a wrap.
Cool. I have a great idea for the outtake for this that I'm probably going to have to make multiple versions of before one of them will be approved.
Okay.
We'll leave it up to you. You do a good job.
I think Nathan will like it, but you won't.
I don't care.
Sweet. I don't care either.
I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable within my.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll include this and just cut directly into that at the end after you've already given me your pre-endorsement.
Right.
That's fine. Yeah. Glad you have material this time.
Yeah.
So what gets you mad this time, Joe?
What gets me mad?
Okay, I'll tell you what gets me mad. This is a prevailing theme in our life.
We're talking about the expulsion of air from but the other scenario that needs to be considered is the expulsion of vapors or gas from my output. And this is commonly referred to as offgassing or some people call it outgassing. And in addition, there's a small amount of moisture that is normally is emitted during the number one performance, kind of incidental emissions from the secret sauce. Wow, sounds like a serious problem. That's a lot of P's. And because of this, it allows the volatiles from but I've never been a real big fan. I'm referring to first removing all the oils and soils from but when they stay soft, the oils and soils can be either removed by a solvent wipe, clean this with a deionized water rinse. They work well, but they're kind of finicky when it comes to performance, and they're high density and hard to reclaim and whatever. But anyway, but very well cleaned and pre-treated within specification. They spray better. You get better coverage per pound or per kilo because the specific gravity is lower from but